Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to take a look at an interview that Karp did from Davos, from the World Economic Forum that happened a few hours ago, and this is actually a fantastic interview. Andrew here asked him very tough questions about what he thinks about the stock price, what's up with dilution, what's up with competition, are they overvalued and undervalued. It's a really good interview, and he dropped some amazing clues about how the company is doing. So a very important video for Palantir investors. I cut out some philosophical blah 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 from the beginning, so we just watch the good parts. And as always, if you like this content, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, which should be below my face here. Just check it out, make sure that you are working and the button works. And if you want to go further and support the channel, you can check out the first link in the description box, which takes you to our Patreon, where you get exclusive content and valuation models from me for $5 a month. So let's begin this video.
Your personal optimism or pessimism, though, right now, I mean, there's a lot of pessimism here.
Yeah, look, we built our company, and I believe in addressing the world as it is. We've built our company around the way the world is now. I am pessimistic about the near future, very optimistic about what we can do to help that. So I agree with people around here, but you got to understand, especially in the tech industry, and to some extent here, but you have people that were just certain they were going to win. Everything was going to break their way. Sure, no one would go out with them in high school, but they're going to own the high school, and they're going to own the whole state, and everything's going to work out, and they're gazillion dollars, and all of a sudden all these assumptions aren't actually true. And they're in a little bit of a depression funk.
Let me know in the comments, is he talking about Zuck? I get the feeling he's speaking about Zuck.
And that's normal when things are not breaking your way, when the world has changed in a way. But there's a lot of ways to actually make the world a better place. First of all, the West can show we actually have superior technology, and we're showing that.
When you said you're pessimistic short term, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, I think that we are...
Very good question, because Palantir is a company that is built for bad times, and what exactly does he mean?
Just learning as world organizations how to live in a world that is very different than we thought. So I don't think the war is likely to end in Ukraine. I don't.
You don't?
I think, look, it's very hard to know what's going to happen, but you have an adversary who is zero-sum. If Putin goes home and says, hey, we lost, he will lose his life, his friends will lose their life, they'll lose all their money. And he'll go to his grave feeling that he lost, which he does not want to do. We in the West, most of us in the West, correctly believe if we allow these kind of things to happen, if we allow people to violate the sovereignty of a land and rape, pillage, and destroy people who are innocent in that land, that this will set a horrible precedent. So we can't allow that to happen. Also, we've shown that we develop superior technology, and combined with heroes on the ground, we can actually win. And so this is just still a class of culture.
That's a pessimistic view geopolitically of potential war and the like. What's your view of the economy and the ramifications? And maybe it's a ramification of war.
No, I think the chief thing hurting the economy is we're in an unknown zone where things are happening we didn't plan, like wars, trying to deal with the wars, inflation. We're also highly divided inside of our countries in the West.
What do you make of, you have a lot of corporate clients here. It's not just government. The feeling from them, their ability to buy, spend more or not right now.
Well, they're gonna, just like in a war situation, because our clients are not in a war situation where it's like not like Ukraine, but de facto it's the same thing. We have to survive under much harsher conditions. And what are they gonna do? They're gonna figure out what works, what doesn't, what's a PowerPoint, what's a fraud, what's actually transforming the business. American businesses here, by and large, have a huge advantage, which America underestimates. What makes Americans interesting? We are very pragmatic. We adapt, we learn, we change.
You said...
Okay, so Andrew doesn't really let him answer it. This is the second time I watched the interview, and I just noticed something, and I really actually like this. So he's super laid back about this answer, and he's saying that in these bad times, people are going to look at what is working, what is not working, and they're going to stay with what is working. And obviously he's implying here that their software is so exceptional that people are going to stay with his software. And he's so certain. I mean, look at how certain he is. You can watch this part again. I actually, second time watching it, I really like how he answered this question.
what's a PowerPoint and what's a fraud? And the reason I raise it is a lot of people who are running around either trying to pretend they're businesses like yours or pretend they're all sorts of businesses. What do you think of the washout that's happened in Silicon Valley, across the world, in terms of
It's very,
valuations?
very, very hard to be joyous because people are in pain. But I mean, we compete against PowerPoints and basic and technology that is useful but not transformative. What situation like the current one we're in, whether it's war in Ukraine, like why did they adopt Palantir? Because you can't afford a PowerPoint when your life is on the line.
Okay, I just have to say this. Why did they adopt Palantir? Because you gave it for effing free. Okay, probably not it's not what happened. Probably they got paid for it. We hope so, but yes.
What's happening to businesses? Their revenues are going down. The regulation is going up. Their workforce is unhappy for lots of reasons. They have to somehow rebuild their culture and attack. And that exposes things in your business that are both good, bad, ugly, and transformative. And of course, everybody wants to be like, there's the Palantir of my cockroach.com farm. Like, and it's like, we are the best Palantir for making sure that cockroaches and others get proper nutrition. And yeah, that works under bad conditions, but it does not under good conditions. It does not work under bad conditions.
What do you make, though, of the valuations that have taken place in Taiwan, including to your own company?
Look, we've been at this for almost 20 years. Our valuation has been very high and very low. What we're very interested in is how is the business doing? I run this business for better or worse. I know how the business is doing. And by the way, over the medium term, not the short term, valuations do reflect the health, integrity, and success of a business. And in the short term, that fluctuation of valuations expose people who are out on the beach naked. You know, if you're out swimming naked, which by the way I embrace, it's kind of hard when it's just like if you're out here without the proper coat. It exposes the weakness in certain businesses. In the end, especially in America, we're adapted. The stronger businesses will grow, thrive, expand, and we'll end up with a much healthier.
What do you tell investors who say, look, this stock has fallen?
I can tell you. Well, investors, I tell our employees, look, there's market conditions that affects the share price.
But is it market conditions? Is it the way the market views your particular company? That there are investors who are frustrated with what they call dilution, right?
Great. There are legitimate and concerns we have to address. Dilution. What are the revenues going to be? Where are the revenues going to develop? How transformative are the products? All legitimate concerns. What the investors we have, primarily our most important investors, are co-workers. What we believe is our business is stronger than it's ever been. Right. And we have a lot of evidence that convinces us.
So very, very good answer. I really like how real he is. I kind of like that he doesn't care about the stock price. And he basically said, look, the future is going to decide. All the data points are telling us that our business is doing very, very good. And he even said, yeah, dilution is an issue. I mean, he did also say that our biggest investors are our co-workers. I don't know if I like that or not. He did say that. You can listen to it again. But I really like how he's not trying to sell Palantir. And he's just saying, like, look, it's bad times. Businesses are going to look at what's working, what's not working. They're going to throw out what's not working. And they're going to, spend money on what is working. It's as simple as that. And based on all the inside data points, we are doing better than ever.
We believe our conviction will convince the world over a multi-year period, and that's what I care about.
Right. But the question is, were the valuations before, when this stock was a $40 stock?
Yeah, look,
do you say to yourself, that was Alice in Wonderland, crazy town?
Let me tell you something. One of the things that's the most helpful about running this company is that when you're kind of like outside the norm, a little bit of a freak show. Like, I never thought we were that good when the share price was 40, whatever. I didn't think we're that bad when the share price is 6 or whatever it is. I know what makes the business strong, and I'm focused on that. And I honestly never thought I was that perfect at 40. I don't think I'm that bad now. I think it's just like you work on the business, you have a huge problem if you're like full on like normal Silicon Valley capitalist pretending you care about altruism or whatever, that you actually judge your life by the share price.
Let me just ask you one other investor-related question, which is, who should the investor base compare your company to? So some people say, oh, it's a consulting company. We should look at Accenture. It should be a multiple of that or not. Other people say, oh, it's a software company. It should be somewhere it should be in the middle, maybe.
You know what?
But what is it?
If you doubt what our company is, talk to the Ukrainians, talk to the CEO of Hertz, talk to BP, talk to the Special Forces. They'll tell you this product saved my life or made my company better. And you know, if you don't have to believe me, believe them.
There was a fascinating piece in the Washington Post that really described what Palantir has done in its involvement in Ukraine in a very detailed way. I mean, you've alluded to it in some of the interviews that we've done over the years. How is that changing the business? And now that that's public, if you will, is it changed the kind of conversation you can have?
Look, we built PG, which single-handedly stopped the rise of the far right in Europe. We built Foundry, which was used to distribute the COVID vaccine and saved millions of lives globally. We built what we call multi-constellation, and what's often called the digital kill chain. And they're category-defining products. So when you deliver these products to the market, just honestly, people say this isn't going to exist, this isn't valuable, but then it changes the market. And then the market is the Palantir market. Now, that doesn't mean everyone in the world is going to buy our product, but it means most of the sensible people in the world are going to buy from the category we define. And that is exactly what's happening in the warfighting context. And it's happening because of, I mean, you have to look at this. You have a small country.
Very interesting clue here. So he said, how does Ukraine affect your business now? And then he said that their products are category defining products, and the sensible people are going to buy this product, and that's exactly what we're seeing, or that's exactly, I don't know exactly how I said it, but it was something like that's exactly what we see happening. So that is like a confirmation that this, whatever strategy they had with Ukraine is very nicely working out in the company. Q4 earnings is around the corner, so it will be very interesting to see this.
That galvanizes its country, brings its heroism forward, and they're up against the third most important army in the world, and they win. Every single country in the world that finds out, that asks, well, how did you do it? What can we do? What is the cost of that? How long does the implementation take?
I always ask you this, but given the increasing tensions it appears between the U.S. and China, where are we? And what are our capabilities? And what do you worry about?
We are very lucky. The Chinese government is very focused on internal security. The U.S. has to heavily, and its allies, focus on external security. We are better at software than the Chinese, but we're also better at focusing on something we care about. How do you repel an adversary that wants to invade your territory? It should be the single focus of and we are, partly because we're better at it and partly because that's the need.
If we had a conversation here 10 years' time, would China have taken Taiwan, tried to take Taiwan? What do you think happens?
I think it largely depends on how powerful our software, hardware, hero quotient is. If we continue to do what we're doing in the Ukraine, look, if Russia had known what Russia knows now, I think there's a pretty strong chance they would not have invaded.
SPACs. What was the lesson of investing in SPACs?
Good questions. That's good.
Most companies were not prepared for bad weather like we were. Stay away from companies that are not prepared for bad weather.
That was the lesson, but you invested in companies that were not prepared for bad weather.
Exactly. We should be more investing in ourselves, not investing in companies that are not prepared for bad weather.
How did that happen?
Look, we are the world's best, in my view, at building software before people need the software. You make mistakes along the way. We made a mistake, we corrected it, we moved on.
This was one of the best interviews that I've seen with Alex Karp. Also, this Andrew guy, really good questions. This should have been on the earnings call, because it really asked him tough questions like, what is up with the stock price? What is up with the dilution? What is up with the SPACs? And to be honest, I get really good vibes from Alex Karp. Honestly, when you're watching this, do you get the idea that this company is in trouble or it's not going good for them? And I love how he's answering the questions. It's like, yeah, you know, it's tough times, and the companies look at what works, what doesn't work, throws out what doesn't work. It doesn't even say it's going to be them. It's like just implied there, you know? Really like this interview. Can't wait for the Q4 earnings. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please make sure you subscribe. Check out the Patreon if you want to get some exclusive content and support the channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.